Hello and welcome to another edition of Son of Kaiju Review. I'm Protomet.
I'm Tank.
And today we will be talking about the DCEU movie, The Suicide Squad.
Not to be confused with Suicide Squad.
That movie sucks, but this one was fun. But it's also in canon with the first movie.
I guess it's a sequel?
I think it's the third movie in the Harley trilogy, at least as far as I'm aware.
I believe it went Suicide Squad, Birds of Prey, and then The Suicide Squad.
Now this one is definitely the better of the, well, from what I understand, it's the better of the three, considering that it's actually had spin-offs.
Yeah.
Whereas with the first movie, they were like, okay,
we're trying this out, and it bombed.
But everybody likes Harley, so let's give her a movie with a bunch of other characters. Okay, that didn't quite work, but everybody still loves Harley. Let's try it a third time, but this time get James Gunn to do it. He's a guy who can take obscure comic book characters and make them household names. Or just look what he did with Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
And to think the guy got his start at Troma.
Yep. He did. That company.
And then he did Scooby-Doo.
The live action movie?
Yep. And Slither.
And a plethora of other movies.
And apparently he did so well on The Suicide Squad that they made him one of the guys in charge of the DCEU.
He fixed the Justice League movie?
No. I don't think there was really much way to fix that outside of just releasing the Snyder Cut.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they released that before they brought James Gunn on board for creative control of basically making him the Kevin Feige of DC.
Pretty much.
But this movie starts off with Michael Rooker, a longtime collaborator of James Gunn.
He's in a lot of his movies.
Killing a bird with a racquetball.
Boing.
In an elaborate way.
He is playing, I can't think of it.
I'm trying to remember. It's not Prodigy. It's an obscure villain, of course.
Yep.
And then he gets, of course, recruited to Task Force X, which is better known by the inmates of the prison as
the Suicide Squad.
Because it's a government task force made up of supervillains who are basically sent in to no-win situations.
Okay, so you get 10 years off your sentence. What if it's a life sentence?
Well, that's 10 years off your life sentence. Generally, a life sentence does have, like, a set limit.
Oh.
Like, they're not... they are expecting you to die in prison, but they're also...
Well...
It's like a lifetime supply of something. They're not expecting you to actually use all that within your lifetime.
Yeah. So... he gets injected with the bombs that all the other inmates have, or crazier inmates have in the back of their necks, I guess. And, they get introduced to the rest of his group.
Mongal, Weasel, TDK, Blackguard, Captain Boomerang, one of the only other characters in this movie returning from the first.
I guess there's a guy named Javelin.
And then, of course, Harley Quinn.
Well, sorry, had to go number 2. Good to know.
And leading them is Rick Flag, the only other character aside from Harley and Boomerang to return from the previous movie.
I'm just curious now. I know during this scene, Harley Quinn calls Captain Boomerang Boomer. Is she calling him a boomer?
Nah, I think it's just a nickname for Captain Boomerang, which is technically already itself a nickname.
Yeah, pretty much. His weapon is a boomerang.
Anyway, they are sent on their mission to infiltrate Korto Moldova.
Thank goodness you said it. I wouldn't have been able to say it.
I think I might be wrong. Korto Maltese?
This is why we have the internet, folks, to help us out. And then it's going to go down and everyone's screwed.
Exactly.
I'm not going to read a book.
Books, icky.
Bad medicine.
I'm looking it up right now. To be fair, I'm not the only one to not know what it was, what the name of the place is, because they...
I didn't know. I just knew they were on some island.
Even Harley forgets where they're going. Just waiting for this to load. Loading. Anyway, they're set to infiltrate on the...
A building that's in the city of the village, not village. Yep.
Make landfall and make their way to a tower called Korto Maltese.
Korto Maltese.
That's the name of the city, but they're supposed to infiltrate the country and make it to a tower called Jotunheim. And turns out Blackguard betrayed them all, and they wind up getting shot to hell.
He gets shot. Well, not really.
He gets his face blown off. Played by, Pete something? Pete Davison?
Yeah, it's Pete Davison.
I recognize him, but I'm not terribly familiar with his work.
I don't know, really. I just know he does a stand-up, and apparently his dad died in 9/11. He uses that joke all the time.
We're really going for get knocked off YouTube. But yeah, so they all get shot. Turns out TDK was short for the detachable kid.
In this particular scene, Harley is with Flash. He's like, his what the fuck? I didn't pick the team, all right?
He detaches his arms, try and slap the soldiers that are shooting at him, which... it's like, what the hell?
And how he dies, it's... Honestly, some other soldier could have shot the body. No, they end up shooting up the arms.
And of course, he feels it because... What the fuck, dude?
It is...
That's for like a stealth technique, not stand right out in the open and just watch the whole thing happen.
His arms were like toys, you know. If you can switch out, if a figure has multiple different like forms or something,
you could pop out the limb.
Like it had the nubbies.
Yeah, but I think those were actually his arm bones.
But still, it looked funny.
Mongale tries to take out a helicopter and
it backfires on her big time.
Ends up crashing and
on top of her.
On top of her, and going right into Captain Boomerang.
Yep.
Absolutely obliterating him.
Mm-hmm.
Weasel didn't even make it to shore before dying because turns out nobody checked to see if he could swim.
Yep.
Javelin dies of gunshot wounds, but bequeaths his javelin to Harley.
Mm-hmm. The scene is hilarious. Who do I give this to? Just they're slapping a corpse, and all of a sudden, like, the military, Harley and Flash are the only ones alive.
Flag. Not Flash.
Flash. Same.
Savant, Michael Rooker's character, he decides to bug out and just try swimming away.
And Waller blows his head off.
Amanda Waller, the most heroic bitch ever.
Oh yeah,
she is technically a good guy, but she exemplifies the ideal of an anti-hero because she doesn't give a fuck what she has to do to get a positive outcome.
Yeah.
No matter how many people she has to manipulate.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she is hard.
Yeah, she's like... So, I believe it... After that, we see... we get introduced, I guess, to the other team.
The actual stars of the movie.
Yes.
Peacemaker, played by John Cena. Bloodsport, played by Idris Elba. Ratcatcher 2, which... The fact that they went with Ratcatcher 2 was... It's not so much that I'm terribly familiar with Ratcatcher 2, but the fact that they acknowledge that there are multiple villains / heroes that use the same names and are just usually differentiated by adding a number to the end of theirs.
Polka Dot Man.
Polka Dot Man. Nanaue, a.k.a. King Shark, voiced by Sylvester Stallone. An absolutely dumbass shark man.
Okay. Stallone, sometimes you have a hard time understanding him in general.
That was because he had a partial stroke.
I know, but
that was.
But he made it. He made perfect.
That. He used that to his advantage to make all his roles distinct.
Yes. Oh, like in First Blood.
Oh,
that speech at the end.
Oh God, that is my favorite part. That is like the one scene in that movie that I remember the most because of how much of an emotional impact it has in a movie that's generally an action movie.
Oh yeah, it's just.
It's like I definitely want to cover that movie someday.
I'll bring it up with Tanner.
I have. He does too, which gotta figure out when.
Yep. Oh, okay. So they, Bloodsport, is cleaning the prison.
This is like 3 days earlier.
Yep.
When all them are getting recruited for their backup op.
Yep, so they're being, he's cleaning everything. All of a sudden, Waller comes in and tells him, like, you have a visitor. First he goes, I'm not joining a fucking suicide squad.
It's called Task Force X. That's not what we call it.
And then he has to, he has a visitor. Apparently his daughter stole a television watch.
Right?
Yep. And they just get into a pissing matches because...
I love how Bloodsport is like, why would you watch it? Why would you watch TV on a watch?
It does other things!
I don't know, it does other things.
So... He ends up joining because...
Turns out she's potentially going to go to a prison because despite the fact that she is technically underage, in the state they're in, which I think is Virginia, they have the potential to try her as an adult, which means she could wind up in the same prison he's in, and he knows that it's not a very good prison because it's full of supervillains.
Yep.
Like Calendar Man.
Every time I play that game, man, that's a holiday. I have to go. I have to. Just to see what he did.
And of course they go with that version of him.
Yep.
For those of you who don't know, Calendar Man is an obscure Batman villain who shows up in Batman Arkham City as a Easter egg character.
He pretty much... makes fun of Polka Dot Man.
Yeah, but to be fair, it's Polka Dot Man.
Yeah.
So anyway, Team B has to go in.
Yep.
And potentially rescue Flag, because turns out he didn't get killed.
Nope.
Neither did Harley, but they're not exactly keeping track of her.
Well, she can fend for herself. Like we'll find out later in the movie.
Yeah, Harley gets captured rather than killed. Like,
Yeah.
She's the only one of Team A, aside from Flag, to not be outright killed.
Mm-hmm. Okay, there are some lines with Peacemaker and I keep wanting to say Deadshot, but it's not Deadshot. That was in the other movie.
No, Bloodsport.
Bloodsport.
I mean, you can definitely tell that they probably wanted to use Deadshot, but had to settle for Bloodsport. But Idris Elba does a fantastic job.
Oh yes,
playing the character.
Okay, so simple enough. Like, they're the same person. Like, they both don't have really any. Nobody on that team actually has any abilities. No, like, superpowers, but okay. I suppose that device, Ratcatcher 2, or Tamer, I forget her name.
I think it's Ratcatcher.
Ratcatcher.
Ratcatcher 2.
And King Shark is just a Shark Man. And, well, Polka Dot Man has a virus, apparently.
An extra-dimensional virus. Which, thankfully, for everybody else, isn't contagious, but does require him to expel his polka dots twice a day.
Or they'll build up and he'll go kaboom.
Like they do a good job of actually effectively using Polka Dot Man in this movie.
Exactly.
As both a joke and it's like, no, this is something you should be taking seriously.
Yeah. Apparently he hates his mother.
Well, that's because she's the one who gave him the powers, alongside his siblings.
Yeah.
Several of whom died. Not all of whom have, but
oh, they're okay. They have make a camp, and Nawe is trying to eat Ratcatcher
because he's dumb
he's like,
and hungry because he's a shark.
Hand. Yes, Nawe, that is your hand.
Nawe.
Good for you. So they end up
finding an encampment and end up taking out a lot of the individuals in the camp to try and recover Flag.
So, in this particular scene, Bloodsport and Peacemaker have a competition on killing people.
A dick measuring contest of murder.
Yeah, pretty much. Who won that?
Moot point, because turns out they were killing all the wrong people because Flag was actually a guest.
Yeah.
He had been rescued by these resistance fighters who were trying to retake over the government after the government of Corto Maltese had been usurped by a military coup. And the only reason that Task Force X has been sent in to deal with Corto Maltese is because now the current government has aspirations of turning on America, as opposed to before when they weren't hostile towards America, so they didn't give a shit.
Yep.
Because politics suck.
Yeah. I do like the lady that the
lead.
Yeah. The leader of the
resistance.
Yeah.
I don't remember her name.
But she goes, you Americans just keep coming in guns blazing. Yeah, well, they were all dead when we got here. I pictured them all as my mother, and I killed them.
Turns out he sees everybody as his mother.
Yep. He's got terrible mommy issues.
Yeah, I'm just trying to find if they get the character's name. I mean, she is admittedly a minor character, but
yeah,
she uses Sol Soria.
Yeah, I'm not going to remember that. The rest of them.
Anyway, she uses her connections to get Flag and the rest of Task Force X into the city to try and infiltrate.
And also I believe, around... No.
At around this point, Harley is
in a pit.
Is in a pit, but she's basically let go because the new president of the country, Silvio,
is fond of her.
And admittedly, he's trying to broker a relationship with her because apparently the people of Corto Maltese respect Harley for some reason for her anti-American sentiments, despite the fact that she's just insane.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, Margot Robbie does a good job as Harley, but...
Yeah.
I mean, clearly it wasn't good enough to save the previous two movies. It was only good enough to get her 3 tries.
But now I can't see anyone else play Harley.
Personally, I'm more a fan of Arlene Sorkin, but that's just me. She voiced the original Harley Quinn, and the character was based on her. So...
Yeah.
Kind of a weird lineage she has. Starting off as a one-off cartoon character that gained enough popularity to keep coming back in the cartoon and eventually incorporated into the comics.
Then getting her own comic.
And then basically headlining 3 movies. Even though she's a minor character in this one, at the very least. No disrespect to Margot. She does a good job. But anyway, she and Silvio have a great time, and he asks her to marry him, and she is almost ready to agree until he finds out what he's been doing, and then he shoots her because she doesn't want to be in another toxic relationship. And
no, she shoots him. No, that's not how you said.
Oh. What I said and what I thought were apparently 2 completely different things. She shoots him.
And honestly, she didn't know that gun had a bullet in it. She thought it was just the prop.
She didn't think it was your prop. She was just surprised that it still had a bullet in it because it was on display in a case. Like it was an antique.
Before the shooting actually happens, they have a big romp scene.
Oh, it's a nice... He ends up wrecking the room.
Yep. They knock over like hard liquor booze, and then knock over
smash into the gun cabinet.
Yep.
Knock over a couple of vases.
Just like
start a fire.
Well, I guess it's not good sex with Harley if it's not rough, I guess.
But even before this, we do get a scene in which Silvio and his associate, Mateo Suarez, the general of Corto Maltese, are having a meeting with the Thinker, the guy in charge of the Jotunheim building, and his Operation Starfish, which turns out to be Starro, the Conqueror, a giant alien starfish creature.
Yep.
The kaiju of the movie.
Yeah, pretty much.
So yes, this movie does have a kaiju. We just haven't mentioned it until now. But turns out Starro has the ability to produce offshoots that can latch themselves onto people's faces and use them as extra bodies.
Yeah.
And it's currently restrained underneath the tower.
So the squad ends up having to meet up with a guy named Milton.
And they all go to a bar, except for Nanaue, because he's a giant shirk man.
Yep, he's like, we're disguised.
Oh yeah? Oh yeah, what's your disguise gonna be?
Fake mustache.
Yeah, that'll really help you.
I do like how Ratcatcher 2 is... Well, she's definitely the youngest of the group, and she just seems always so tired.
She does seem always so tired, but that's just kind of...
Bloodsport, it has a
a fear of rats. Despite her pet that rat Sebastian being an absolute charming fellow.
Just wait. Why is that rat waving at me?
Is that rat waving at me? I believe so, yes.
Why? He's very friendly. I guess he's very friendly. Oh.
Of course, Bloodsport has a
phobia of rats. Because they end up telling the reason why he has a phobia. Apparently his father, if a mission failed...
No, not so much a mission, just if...
He did something bad or something.
If he didn't care for a chore that... Or a chore was done incorrectly, his dad would put him in a box.
With rats. With hungry live rats. So he was getting bit by rats.
That'll put a phobia in you.
Yeah.
At that point, that's no longer a phobia. That's
just
that's a trauma.
Yeah. So then they end up going to a bar to wait for Brainiac. No, that's
the Thinker.
The Thinker.
He does kind of look like a Brainiac type, though.
Yeah.
Like, with all those things stuck to his head. Thinker being played by Peter Capaldi, who previously had played a version of Doctor Who.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I know him from. I know he's been in other stuff, but
he was He was one of the doctors. So.
Yeah, it's hard to forget that.
Yeah. Simple enough. He shows up. You had to rewind the movie because you thought you saw Lloyd Kaufman, and you did.
I did see a cameo from Lloyd Kaufman.
Just like, what, why are you...
It's like, is that Lloyd Kaufman? I gotta check that out.
Yeah, but he has no lines. He's just there.
But anyway, once Thinker shows up, Bloodsport takes him captive, and
at this time they're about to take him to the van. But the military show up looking for Americans.
Because they are vaguely aware that Americans might still be around after what happened on the beach.
Yeah.
And the fact that Silvio is dead, which Mateo, now being in control, has had Harley captured, and he's been torturing her to try and get information that she obviously doesn't have, and isn't even going to reveal even if she did, because she's fucking insane.
Like I told Luke, like when we were watching this scene, this is nothing. She was with the Joker for years.
And I haven't even seen the first movie, and I know that's not a good relationship.
No. So they continue to torture, but they're taking, Flag, Peacemaker, and Bloodsport somewhere.
They're going to take them into detainment, but they manage to use their abilities as super soldiers.
That's what they are.
Basically, to just eliminate...
I just like how he's pretty much, the technique of, you can kill a man with one blow.
It's like, that's impossible. That's what they all say.
And he's like, one. They all just headbutt him.
Kill him. Manage to hijack the thing and crash it.
And at this time, also, Milton is driving the Brainiac... Thinker, and, the rest of the group they were following the vehicle that had them contained. They get out, and by the way, did they just put the tightest clothes on John Cena?
I am remembering the point earlier in the movie when Nanaue is about to eat Ratcatcher 2's head off, and he's
just in tighty whities.
That's racist. No, it's not. And you can see his bulge.
It's just there. It's there. There's no way you can't look at it. It's like in the shot.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if that was CGI, but I also might not be surprised if that wasn't. I don't know.
We don't know if he's well or down or not.
I mean, I've never been interested in knowing.
Me
But
neither. But it was okay. It was just there. Okay.
It was there.
And well, this scene, he's like wearing like, it looks like a golf shirt and shorts.
Yeah, he's
Just like,
like clearly they did not have enough disguise clothes large enough to fit his build.
Yeah.
Because everything is just
yep.
just too small, but just fitting.
Yep. It's just, it's funny. They all get out of the...
And head into the city to try and get to Jotunheim now that they've got Thinker in.
He's like, all right, now we got to go to Jotunheim. No. There's like a big like fiery thing in the background. One thing goes away. We have to rescue Harley.
Because Flag, after learning that Harley survived, is like, oh, okay, we got to go get her.
Yep.
Because why not?
Yep.
We could use her help if she's managed to survive this far.
Okay, now they're continuing to torture Harley.
Before that, I do want to mention something we've neglected to mention until just now, but each portion of the movie basically has chapters that are indicated by words that appear in basically the...
It seems like a comic.
I don't want to say background, more like integrated into the scene in a way that makes sense narratively. Mm-hmm. Like chapter titles.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, like, initially the chapter for going to rescue Harley is Operation Starfish, because that's where they're going initially, until Flag's like, no, we're going to get Harley. And then the portion, and it's made out of, like, flames from the wreckage. Mm-hmm. And then after that, like, the starfish flames go out, and it's replaced by smoke, making the word Harley.
Yep.
So...
Operation Harley.
But you get like scrawled on the beach 3 days earlier, going back to when they get recruited and stuff like that. It's part of the fun of this movie.
Yeah,
and it just revels in the fun.
Okay, so the bad guys are. Oh wait, no. They're asking Harley, like, how many armies are going to be coming to...
How many soldiers are in the army? And she's like, 69. How did you get 69? And then the interrogator whispers his ear, indicating that it's supposed to be a sex joke and not the actual number. It's like, oh, fuck you.
And she is tased and tased again and tased again.
Until she passes out. And then Mateo just leaves.
And let me know when she wakes back up so we can torture her again.
So he leaves. Interrogator's checking his phone, and while his back is turned, Harley wakes back up and strangles him with her legs. Mm-hmm. And then uses her feet to get the keys to unchain herself.
Yep. And
basically goes on a killing spree through the building.
To the song, I forget who sings it, Just the Juggalo. Just grabs a bunch of pistols. She steals the guy's boots.
Like, it is a great over-the-top action sequence that is just something that is to be seen throughout this movie. Yep. Some great, real fun action scenes, regardless of who's winning.
Yeah.
Like the beach slaughter earlier at the beginning of the movie. That one's a fun scene for how tits up everything goes.
Oh, yeah.
The dick measuring contest is a fun way of Bloodsport and Peacemaker killing characters in different imaginative ways. All while trying to be quiet because they're trying to sneak up on the main encampment.
Not fatal. Explosive bullets.
Fuck. Fuck. No one likes a show off. Unless it's That's what they're showing off is dope.
Yep.
Dope as fuck. Fuck.
Yep. So, yeah, this scene of Harley just decimating just about every military person in the building. So then she finds her javelin.
Yeah, takes that back and starts using that too. Meanwhile, Flag and the others are about to infiltrate the building when Harley, who gets in a cab, suddenly spots the Flag and Bloodsport and goes to meet up with them. It's like, hey guys!
What are you doing? We were here to rescue you, and we had a really good...
Oh!
You're here to rescue me?
I can go back in if you want.
That's patronizing. Bloodsport.
So now with the remains of Task Force S fully reunited, they head to Jotunheim, suit up, plot to blow up the building.
More military people show up and they kill Milton. And there's a funny little scene where Bloodsport didn't know that Milton was still with them.
Well, that's a bit later in the movie. No, they use the Thinker to infiltrate Jotunheim after getting past the guards and killing everybody else.
Yeah.
In between the opening gates and the actual entrance to the building, which I managed to do because there was like a freak rainstorm.
Yeah, but even before that, they're like on a rooftop somewhere, and they're having the telling the Thinker, it's like, you do anything to betray us, you're dead. And one of the funniest things Harley asks, he's like, if you cough without covering your mouth, you're dead. Well, that's not one of them, but yeah, don't
take that as an open invitation to do
that. Because that's nasty. I am walking back and forth. This movie is too damn funny.
But anyway, they get in the building and basically they split into two groups. They're going around setting the plastic explosives. One group starts heading up, while the other group heads down.
Yep.
The group that are heading down consists of Flag, Ratcatcher 2, and Thinker.
Yep.
And
we got Norway, Harley, and
Bloodsport going up, and Peacemaker does his own thing.
Yep.
As it turns out, but
no. Well, he's also putting plastic explosive on. Norway goes.
He makes like a
little. He uses a lot of like the clay. He's like Peacemaker. He's like,
makes like a little doll of.
Like, doesn't even fucking look at me.
It's like
Fred. It's very kind of you, but
doesn't look
anything like me.
Doesn't look anything like me.
But put it on the wall.
Like he's pissed off, but is like, that is actually kind of sweet of you. Thank you.
Well.
Even if I hate it.
Yeah, it's like it's nice. So
now I assume that Flag and Ratcatcher go down with the Thinker to eliminate Starro and try and destroy all the horrific experiments that it turns out Thinker has been doing on both Starro and the prisoners who've been taken to Jotunheim.
Yeah.
Because turns out he's been doing some incredibly fucked up shit.
There is...
To the point where even Starro is like, I hate this man for what he's been doing to me.
Yeah. Yeah, because the little Starros that latch on to the faces of the humans, that's Starro himself.
They're extensions of him.
Yeah.
But by latching onto people's faces, it's also killing the people he's attaching to.
Yeah.
So he's basically manipulating corpses. Mm-hmm. And turns out Thinker's doing something even more fucked up than that.
Mm-hmm. He's performing surgeries on the corpses. Like, there is, like, a person there with no legs. It's
And
just a torso.
Just their guts, like, just barely hanging there.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, God, it's horrific. There's one guy who had a star attached to their face, and now it's detached, but still technically connected by the sinews.
Yeah.
And it is a horrific sight.
It's a very graphic sight.
And it's outright stated that he's even doing this to children.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And we're not even talking about some of the more fucked up implications of what's going on, because fuck Thinker.
Yep. There was a person that was yelling, that was in a cage, yelled out, "He's had his way with me."
It's like, again, super fucked up.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of it's implicit, but fuck Thinker.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So when the bombs start going off ahead of schedule...
Yep.
Starro uses that as an opportunity to break free and grab hold of Thinker and tear him limb from limb.
As he needed to.
But that leaves Ratcatcher and Flag having to scramble because turns out Flag had grabbed a data disk containing all the research that had been being done in the facility, which was sanctioned by the U.S., as it turns out. Mm-hmm. And he plans on revealing this information to the public because, fuck this shit.
Yep. Then, at this time, Peacemaker shows up.
Because turns out he had been tasked with eliminating all traces of U.S.'s involvement in this, because he's a peace lover. No matter how many people he has to kill to do it, and if this information gets out, it'll cause an incident that is certainly not peaceful.
No. It's so then
the bombs start going off ahead of schedule.
Yeah. Flag and Peacemaker end up having by far one of the best fight scenes I've seen.
Oh yeah, it's a great knockdown slobber knocker.
Yeah,
Fist fight.
They're beating they're trying to go for killing blows.
all trying to get this data disk.
And Peacemaker gets the upper hands and ends up killing Flag because a piece of toilet he got stabbed him right in the heart.
Ouch.
Peacemaker.
And Peacemaker has even gone on record saying that he respected Flag. So he didn't want to have to do this.
Yep.
But he had to do this because he's fucked up in the head.
He gets better.
I mean, admittedly, I haven't seen where it gets better, but we'll get to that in a bit.
Yeah. So... Ratcatcher 2 witnesses the murder.
And grabs a hard drive and starts running off. Mm-hmm. Cut to 8 minutes earlier.
I love that part.
Now we got the rest of the team heading upwards. Nanaue kind of gets distracted because there's an aquarium in there. He starts making friends with all these jellyfish-looking creatures.
Yeah, so... one of the bombs go off, and it breaks the...
Well, what happens is they're heading into an office area, get accosted by soldiers. Milton, who had been following the other three, Polka Dot Man, Harley, and Bloodsport, he gets shot up, and Polka Dot Man is broken up about it.
Because he had made a good friend, Milton. He liked Milton.
Bloodsport's like, wait, Milton was still with us? And Harley was like, wait, who's Milton?
She's like, who's Milton? What? He was with us the whole time. So there was a guy named Milton with us.
I would have remembered that.
It's not a very common name. I don't know many Miltons. Are you serious right now?
He's right there. Oh, Milton! And then some soldiers show up and...
Polka Dot Man just kind of...
Well, the entire reason the soldiers start attacking them at first is because Polka Dot Man ends up dropping some of the C4 and has to duck down to try and get it while everybody's being shot at. Mm-hmm. But then, at this point, more soldiers show up and Polka Dot Man decides to use his corrosive polka dots to try and eliminate them.
And it ends up some of them hitting the C4 and kaboom! I'm thinking that's what the boom was before.
Oh yeah, that's why the explosives went off ahead of schedule and caused all the havoc down in the basement.
Noway's being covered with his new friends start trying to eat him
after they get broken out of the aquarium due to the explosion. Harley, Bloodsport, and Polka Dot Man have to scramble in the building to try and keep from falling out of it as it tilts over.
So, pretty much, Polka Dot Man and Harley make it to a different roof as
they manage to make it to the remains of the rest of the building.
Yeah.
But Bloodsport ends up
falling through each layer, but on one set of
each progressively getting lower, but it's like technically because he was on the one, and each time the floor kept giving out, it kept giving out with him on top of it.
Yeah.
So he had to fall a lesser distance each time.
Yeah.
So that cushioned his blow.
Yep. And he lands at the basement where...
No, he lands at the ground floor where he spots Peacemaker about to shoot Ratcatcher too.
Yep. And they just look at each other, and it's my vibes, it felt like an old Western deal with a quick draw type deal.
Yeah.
How? Smaller bullets.
So yeah, Bloodsport manages to take out Peacemaker and rescue Ratcatcher. During all this chaos, Mateo and his soldiers have arrived to try and retake the building after it's been, secured by Task Force X.
Then Starro, the Conqueror, finally breaks out
and starts spreading his progeny around, taking control of the soldiers around. And Task Force X manages to save themselves because Ratcatcher 2 knew that if the small starfish had latched onto their faces, they would do that. So she warns everybody.
She puts on her mask. So one of them tries to go on to Naue, and he's because he's a shark. It doesn't work.
At one point, he falls out of the building, and the soldiers shoot at him, and that really just caused him to kind of fall down and collapse for a bit. But he's like,
ow!
He makes a recovery because he's so thick-skinned because he's a fucking shark.
They all just shoot at him, and he gets back up to his feet, and then he just grabs a soldier and just nom 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 nom.
Sorry, that was my Mountain Dew bottle popping. Sucked on it too hard.
So he takes out a decent amount of people, then
turns his attention on the rest of the city. Well, as it turns out, at this point, communication with Waller's team back in the U.S. gets reconnected because they got disconnected earlier. And now that they've got the data disk and have destroyed Jotunheim Tower, their op is technically done, but they have misgivings about it because Starro is now threatening the entire country with just by existing. So Task Force X, though initially intending to leave, have a change of heart and try and go save the city.
Waller ends up threatening to blow them all up. Then one of the other people on Waller's group smacks her with a golf club.
Putter, specifically.
Yeah, just knocks her out, and the team takes over, and, they want to
help. Because as fucked up as the situation is, it's kind of their fault.
There's a fucking kaiju. Okay. What happens after he already just takes over this country? He may want to go to another country.
Yeah, but I think the idea is that if he does, then they just nuke the place.
Yeah.
That's Waller's thinking because at this point, Jotunheim is taken out, and
that was technically their mission to take down Jotunheim,
and thus remove it as a playing piece for the then ruling government. But by this point, the resistance has managed to break into what's left of the of the government and retake the
Yeah.
facility by force. So anyway, what's left of Task Force X end up taking on the kaiju in creative ways.
Bloodsport tells Nawe, monster num num.
Num?
Num num. Ah!
So he goes biting off. Polka Dot Man ends up using his
hatred for his mother, so he thinks there's the kaiju size of his mom.
And attacks its foot, which is one of the starfish legs.
Yep.
Severely injuring that, but winds up getting crushed in response.
Yeah.
It's like, poor guy.
Also at the time, Starro tells one of the soldiers, a soldier with one of Starro's pieces on him, tell him, this country is mine.
The city is mine.
And
Ratcatcher 2 is like, no, this city is theirs, and summons a whole army of rats to just swarm the giant starfish.
Yep. And as the rats are swarming, Bloodsport is definitely having a panic attack.
Fuck, it's going even more tits up than I imagined it would, and I was imagining it was going tits up. Harley gets a running start with her javelin and ends up stabbing Starro in the middle of its big eye.
Yep, and then the rats go inside of Starro and starts eating him from the inside.
It's like, fuck! And they managed to save the day by killing a kaiju with the rats.
Yep. And they so after Starro is dead, Bloodsport ends up showing a little bit of
the footage from the hard drive to Waller.
Yep. And he's like, you could let us go. Let my daughter go.
I don't want to find out she's ever been in a prison. Otherwise, I'm going to release the rest of this information. You don't come after us. You deactivate the bombs. Just let us go. Otherwise, we're going to release this information. I've already uploaded it to a secure server, so...
Yeah. And she's like, fine.
It's like, fine. All right.
There is a funny scene of... Bloodsport and Harley talking. I don't know. I can be your friend, Milton. That's not my name. But we had 3 hours of saying that you were Milton.
Yeah, we had a discussion about this. No, we didn't.
No, we didn't.
At one point, Bloodsport's daughter actually sees the news footage of the kaiju attack and spots her dad in the crowd and is actually a bit proud of him for being a hero in this situation.
Yep.
Also, Polka Dot Man finally got to be the superhero his mom was forcing him to be the whole time.
He got stepped on. I'm a fucking superhero!
And then the movie ends.
And then we see a cutscene where Peacemaker's still alive.
And that sets up his spin-off TV show, which I haven't gotten around to seeing, but I hear it's good.
It's very good.
I have heard the opening theme song, and it is catchy as fuck.
The dance in general is just funny.
But yeah, that should give you a good indicator as to just how successful this movie was.
Yeah.
That they were, like, straight away able to work on a spin-off piece of media that got well received.
How popular Peacemaker ended up becoming, he is now a DLC character in the new Mortal Kombat 1. And he is voiced by John Cena, so...
Makes sense. And to think, before this movie even went into production, I'm pretty sure barely anybody even knew who Peacemaker was.
I had no idea.
I mean, only, like, hardcore comic book fans would have even known that the guy originally wasn't even a DC character. He was originally from the Charlton run of comics, which there's another mention of Charlton this month.
A lot of Charleston talk.
Well, I did do those 3 comics earlier this month.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did.
So, in a random sort of way, ends up tying together for this month.
A little bit.
But yeah, no, this was an incredibly fun movie with some great action scenes, some fantastic kaiju action.
Yes. It's definitely very good. I highly recommend you guys at least checking out The Suicide Squad. It's got to be The Suicide Squad, not Suicide Squad. You will be very disappointed.
Doesn't even have a kaiju in it. Why even bother?
Oh, yeah.
But I also do kind of like that this is like one of the few comic book movies to actually acknowledge that kaiju comics were a thing back in the day. Back in the earlier days of comics, like that was a viable form of storytelling. Marvel had like so many giant monsters that they even had a storyline a few years back that was all about bringing back all their giant monsters.
Including Godzilla?
No, but only because they didn't have the rights. With the likes of Fin Fang Foom and the original Groot and all that.
Groot was a kaiju, folks. In the first Guardians of the Galaxy, yeah, he's big. But he was way bigger.
and evil.
Yeah.
But that's a tangent, so.
Yep.
So not only is this a movie that features a whole bunch of no longer obscure comic book supervillains, but also a nod to the kaiju history of comic books. And in general, like a really fun movie that you don't need to be familiar with the characters to enjoy.
Yeah.
Like, there's a reason why these characters are now popular. It's because they showed up in this movie that was a really good one. It wasn't banking on the brand name of, say, Batman or Superman. It was like, here are a bunch of obscure characters. Let's make them household names, which is kind of James Gunn's whole thing these days.
Yeah.
He's also working on Creature Commandos, which features Weasel, who turned out to have not actually died at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah, he apparently was playing possum, even though he's a weasel. Oh, God.
And also now James Gunn is one of the guys in charge of DC, in part because of how successful this and Peacemaker was.
Yeah.
Wound up being. Like I said before, he's basically one of the Kevin Feiges of DC at this point.
Yeah, he does good work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, go check out this movie.
Yep. So, till next time, I suppose.
Yep.
Bye.
See ya.